Geno Smith, coming off of his breakout season last year, Seattle, made a little run, made it to the playoffs. They lose to the Niners in the wild card round, but you got Geno Smith coming back. They had I don't want to say legendary, but an elite rookie class last year. Like, you found 2 starting tackles, potentially elite corner in Tariq Woolen, a good running back in Ken Walker, and on paper, it looks like maybe this draft class is going to be just as good. 9-8 last year, projected for 8.2 wins. What are your thoughts on Seattle heading into the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strong team. A lot of it is going to depend, can they continue? Like, was that rookie class as good as it looked, or is it going to take a step back? Did we just see sort of impressive debut performances, and actually that's not necessarily who they're going to be going forward? Or do they kick on and become even stronger looking? I mean, Charles Cross, Abraham Lucas, the 2 tackles they had last year, they played very well out of the gate, and it started to tail off the longer the year went. Their range of outcomes, I think, is pretty wide this year. They could be problematic at some point, or they could take a big step forward and actually look like 2 of the better tackles in the NFL. So, and Tariq Woolen is a similar kind of idea, right? Incredible right out of the gates, built a lot more than Sauce Gardner on the sort of volatile splash plays, interceptions, those kinds of things. So, given Tariq Woolen's extremely young at playing cornerback, is he going to take a huge step forward and start looking like a true all-pro this year? Or do the splash plays regress a little bit and you end up with something a lot less impressive than we saw last season? So I think a lot of it is going to come down to what these young players look like in year 2 and beyond, and this rookie class, can they have the same kind of impact? But if all or most of that hits, this is a really good-looking team.
It shows how wrong we can be on these previews sometimes, Sam. But last year at this time, Seattle had just traded Russell Wilson. They were giving the job to Geno Smith. He was actually battling Drew Lock for the job.
It looked like they were basically punting on the season, like giving up on this year. Geno's the guy. All right,
you have two rookie tackles, right?
Yeah.
The same thing, right? Because we didn't know what they were going to do right away. It looked like maybe what we were just talking about with the Rams or the Cardinals. It looked like a rebuilding year. And all of a sudden, it was a playoff push because Geno Smith was fantastic, and that rookie class was awesome.
It looked a lot like the Cardinals, where you're talking about next year. This season is just, let's waste some time. We'll have a high draft pick, and we'll go again, only without the quarterback. Like Arizona, at least theoretically, has Kyler Murray as the future at that position. The Seahawks didn't even have that. It's like they traded away Kyler Murray, and we're rolling into this year with some combination of Clayton Tune or Colt McCoy. That was what it looked like. And then Geno Smith looks like a top 10 quarterback out of nowhere, and the rookie class was playing extremely well, and some of the players that they had already on the roster were playing well as well. Yeah, it can be. That's one of the most sort of shocking deviations from expectation that you can think of in a year.
So now you're looking at a team. I want to talk about Geno in a minute here, but I always start with QB and pass catchers. This group of pass catchers with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, I think for years here in Seattle, those have been the guys. And then it's like a little tight end production, even when Russ was there, right? A little tight end production, revolving door at wide receiver 3. But they go and spend a first-round pick on Jackson Smith-Njigba, who might be the best wide receiver 3 in the league right off the bat, and an awesome compliment to Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Smith-Njigba does have a wrist injury that I think week 1 might be in jeopardy, but let's just pretend he's going to be healthy this season. I think insurance for those top 2, but also Smith-Njigba working the slot where he's just a smooth route runner, knows how to get open. Some legitimate playmakers here for Geno Smith. And look, as good as Geno was last year, and there was a point where he was graded early as a top 5 quarterback, and then he just kind of dropped off, landed around 10 or 12, whatever it was. He's probably still just a mid-tier quarterback. That's what you are. That's not a knock. But mid-tier quarterbacks with this group of receivers in a solid offensive line, they can produce. So Seattle's set up to have a really productive pass game.